Daily Beats Productions. Daily Beats Productions. You are listening to Daily Beats. Daily Beats Productions. Daily Beats Productions. You are listening to Daily Beats. Daily Beats Productions. Daily Beats Productions. Daily Beats Productions. You are listening to Daily Beats. Daily Beats Productions. Daily Beats Productions. listening to Daily Beats.
What up, YouTube? My name is Tiago Duarte and welcome to another live stream here. This is the Producer Show where I answer all of your questions in videos so that I can help you speed up your learning process and help you become better producers faster. And I already have here a message from Kevin. Welcome to the chat. If you have any questions about music production, you can post them in the chat and I will answer them here in the video and or in the live stream. Basically, it's questions about music production, like related to FL Studio, Studio One, Ableton, stuff like that. You can post all of the questions that you have, and I will do, my best to answer the questions. So before we start, I would like to say that I will be doing these live streams every Saturday at around 6 p.m. GMT plus 2, which is the current time now. And you can post your comments on the videos. I will always take a look at the videos that I see that I post on the channel. So I always look at the comments. You can post here in the chat, or you can subscribe to the newsletter that I have with a link in the description. And I will be sending every Friday. I will be sending a link or an email with a link where you can post your questions there, and those questions will have higher priority here in the chat. So if you want your questions answered with higher priority, that's the way to do it. You subscribe to the newsletter. I will not be sending any product marketing material. It will be just information about these live streams, so you can rest assured that you will not get spammed or stuff like that. So last weekend I couldn't do a live stream because I was sick. I got COVID, and now I'm back on my feet. And let's go ahead and start with the questions that I have here. So the first question, it's regarding MIDI and the piano roll, and is how to do strumming. So let's jump into FL Studio right away and let's start with the answering. So as you can see here, if I go to the piano roll, let me first add a new instrument. Let's do flex with pianos, just a simple piano. Yeah, so let's go here to the piano roll. Let's say that I add a chord here, something like this. So this sounds like a normal chord, and I can add another one, maybe a C major in this case. And as you can hear, this sounds very robotic. So there are ways to make the sound or the MIDI notes sound a little bit more human, and you can do that with strumming. And basically what strumming is instead of playing the chord right away like this, you can play one note at a time, but still having the same chord. So in this case, if I play A minor, what I have is A, C, and E. And if I do this, I'm playing all the notes at the same time, or roughly at the same time. But if I do something like this, now this is what is called strumming. So instead of playing all the notes at the same time simultaneously, you just play one after the other one. You can also go from up to down in terms of pitch, or you can go up, down, up, or up and down. And this is what you do with strumming. So you can do manually strum. You can manually strum the notes like this. So we could do something like that. Let's maybe remove the size of these ones a little bit. But there are easier ways to do this. So let's go back and put the notes. So first you start with the notes that you want, or the chords that you want. And then if we go here to the wrench, to the tools, we have something called strum, which is Alt-S. So if you don't want to go here, click there and click here, you can do just Alt-S, and you have the piano roll Stromizer. And as you can see here, we have this strength and tension, and here it says the time. So if you start moving this knob, it will start move these notes. As you can see, we can go very aggressive, and we can also do it very fast. Okay, and of course you can control pretty much every parameter here. I would focus mostly on this one, the strength of the time. And of course you can also add tension. So let's say that I want to have in every single step, as you can see now, in every single step is around, what, 1 here, the timing. But if we start adding tension, instead of going linear like this, it's going to do some curve like that. So if I start adding tension, let's maybe add tension like this, you can see that this one goes right, but then it does not the same amount of time on this one. So here from G to E is 1 step, but from E to C it's half step. So you can also manage the time, or you can increase the time or the tension. You can also play around with that. And here we have the velocity, where you can always make it go up or down, something like that, and you can play around with these. It's always a good thing to play around here. There's also this part here, which is alternate direction. As you can see, this is going up and then this is going down. And this can be a really cool way for you to add some flair, or to make this effect a little bit more interesting by changing the direction. So now you see it's always up, up. And if you want to do this, you can go up and down, and this can maybe increase or make the track sound, or the chords that you are trying to play, make them sound a little bit more interesting. Something like that. And of course you can also chop chords. This is when chords overlap. In this case, I made them so that they do not overlap. And of course you can also strum or keep the end, or reduce the end, or trim the end, like so. As you can see, just play around with it and you will start finding the knobs that you need. And you can also preserve the end like this if you need so, and trigger head, something like that. So instead of going the strum, you see that goes down and goes up, and you can pretty much change the stuff here. And it's good to start playing around with these tools, because these tools are very, very interesting and can really save you time. So let's say you make a chord progression that you like. So let's say that I go here and I do A minor, and then I go maybe D minor, then E minor. Something like this. Let's say that I have this chord progression and I want to make it more interesting. What I can do, Alt S. Let's preserve the end. And automatically sounds a little bit more interesting. We could alternate the directions. In this case, I prefer like this. And I already have like this a very interesting chord progression that sounds a little bit better than it was before. So this is a really cool tool to have in your arsenal, or to understand and know how it works, because it can really help you speed up your chord progressions and make your chord progressions sound a little bit more interesting and faster and a little bit more organic. When you start adding some strum, you, like I told you, like if you just go with your mouse and draw the notes, they can sound very robotic. But if you do it with a little bit of strum, you start adding some feeling, some vibe to the chord progression. So I think that's it for this question. The next question that I have here, it's also related to MIDI tools, and it's the Flam tool. So what is Flam? Flam basically is an effect that you will most likely or hear this in drums. And whenever you have like two snares playing very close together, or the drummer playing with the drumsticks in the snare, or hitting the snare like with the two hands, that's what it's called flamming. And let's jump into FL Studio so that I can show you what I mean. If I go here, let's go to a new pattern and let's bring a where is it? Drums. Let's do the FPC. So we have sticks. Let's go to a snare. Let's go to this one, for instance. This is just for showcasing. So if we have something like this, we could have a drum loop. Let's maybe go to 90. A very simple drum loop. So sometimes you might want to add like two snares very, very sharp, because, or not sharp, very close together, to make sure that you have that effect. So what you do is you select the note, and a key here, then we have Flam, which is Alt F. So we click here, and automatically you see that it added their two notes very close together. So that's the type of effect. It's okay, so of course you can always play around with velocity. We can play with timing, make it shorter. We can make it longer. Okay, I would say maybe shorter has a more interesting effect to it. And we, of course, you can have absolute. I would say absolute is better, or we can do it before. In this case, I prefer to do it afterwards, and I'm not going to group the notes. Okay, and as you can see, this is what it does. Instead of doing this manually, which can take a little bit of time and can be a little bit of a pain. If you are agile with your mouse and stuff like that, you can do this very quickly, but you have a tool, you just select Alt F, and that's it. You can have as much flams as you want. And again, this is to add some interest to your drums, to make the drums sound a little bit more realistic, and to add this type of notes or this type of effect. Once in a while, it's really nice to do this in drums, because it will help you, or it will help your drums to stand out a little bit more, and you kind of understand what's going on. And after you understand what the flam is, you will start to hear it more and more in the tracks that you hear every day. So these are cool tools that or cool effects that is always good to know, and it's always good to have available in your mind whenever you want to do something. You just go ahead and go for the shortcut, or to the tool here, and you just select whatever you want to do. Okay. A little bit of tea. So yeah, this is the first two questions, Strum and Flam. It's a really cool things or tools that I've learned in my productions years, I guess. And it really, especially the strumming is a very cool effect that the better you know how to do it, the more interesting it becomes, or the easiest it becomes to use. And it's very important to understand this type of effects, because it can really make a difference in your tracks. As you've seen in the chord progression that I did, it really made the chord progression sound a little bit more interesting. So let's go to the next question that I have here, which is a little bit of music theory. And the question is, what is a chord versus a scale? So if we go here to FL Studio, when I was showing you the chord progression that I did here. So this chord progression is in the scale of A minor, and I did it with minor chords. So first of all, let's talk about scales. What is a scale? If we go here to a new pattern, you can see that FL Studio gives us some tools to help us with scaling, with the scales. And as you can see, we have this A in a little bit darker or grayish color. So we have the white notes, the black notes, and then we have this gray color. And this color indicates us the root note that we have selected on. So in this case, we have the root note as A. But if I go here to view scale highlighting, I can change this scale, for instance, to F. And now you can see that A is no longer selected, or grayed, is now F. So the gray color indicates what root note or root scale we have. So let's go back to A minor. And then you can see that here in the piano roll we have lighter colors and darker colors. And these do not always match the colors of the keys. For instance, in this case it does, because the A minor scale basically is just all the white notes, like this. So in this case, all the lighter colors here match the white notes, but it doesn't have to be like that. So if I go here, for instance, to view scale highlighting, and let's say that I change to F sharp minor. Now you can see that the scales or the colors changed, and now we have this one here belongs. This is grayed out, so it doesn't belong to the scale. B belongs because this is a lighter color. Then this one here, it's not a lighter color. And you can see this C is a white note. So this is how you manage to check between the scales. So basically, it's easy for you to go here, select or view scale highlighting, and choose the scale that you want. You also have here different scales, but I will only talk about minor and major scales. So going back to the question, what is a scale? Basically, a scale is just a group of notes that sound well together. If I play here the A minor scale, you see that we start with A, then B, C, D, E, F, G, and back to A. You see, and this is A minor is a very simple scale because it's all the white notes, so you can just move around very easily and make a chord progression. Very, very simple, just moving around, playing the notes. It's very easy to make a chord progression in this scale because it's just all the white notes starting with A, as you can see. So this scale is basically a group of notes that sound well together. And then we have chords. So if we think a scale as a group of notes, then we can create or play notes from that group of notes that sound well together. So let's say that this is our scale from A to A. And let's say now that I want to play a note in this one. So I could just play C, D, something like that. I could just go something like that. Or I can play individual notes inside of the scale, of the group of notes from the scale, or I can play several notes together. If I play 3 notes together, then we have a chord. And in this case, if I play 3 notes together with one distance of okay, so how can I say this? So if I play one note, I skip another one, and then I play that one, skip another one, and then I play that one, then we have, in this case, a minor scale, as you can see here. And a minor scale basically is just a combination of 3 notes. And we can also play a major scale. And a major scale will be, let's go do here. Let's do a minor scale. And let's do a major scale. Okay, as you can see, the difference between a minor and a scale is the notes in between the two ones. So this one is the root note or the root of the chord, and then this is the perfect fifth, and then we have here inside we have two notes, and this could be the minor third or the major third, and this basically just gives us it's the number of the chords or the notes inside of the scale. So this would be the first one, second one, third one, fourth one, and fifth one. And as you can see, this is the first note, this is the fifth, this is the third, and in this case, this would also be the third, but this one is minor, this one is major. This is what distinguishes between a minor and a major chord. And if we look at here, we see that A major actually does not belong to the A minor scale, because to do a major scale, we will have to do this. And this C sharp does not belong to the A minor scale. So to find a major scale inside of the A minor scale, we would have to move this one up and down. So let's do, this one does not fit, and this one would fit. So C major would fit in the A minor scale, because to do a C major chord, we use C, E, and G. And you see the difference between the chords. If I play now C minor, it sounds a little bit more moody, and C major tends to sound a little bit happier. And as you can see, C minor does not belong to the scale of A minor, because for that we would need F sharp here. So this is basically how we do chords, or how we work, or how I work with chords. And after a while, you read a couple of articles, a couple of books on music theory, and this becomes a little bit clear. And yeah, that's the difference between a scale. So if we go back and resume everything, a scale is just a group of notes that sound well together, and then we have chords, which could be in the most simple terms a minor chord and a major chord. There are other ones, but those are the simplest ones. Is a combination of three chords or three notes that should be inside of the scale that we are playing with. And in this case, A minor chord belongs to the A minor scale. Of course, we could have also, for instance, this one here, D minor, also belongs to the A minor scale. And then we would have also the C major, and we would have also an augmented one here, like so. So you can see that it's easy to, as long as we know what are the chords or what are the notes that sound well together within that scale, it's easier to start making chords. And even if you don't know the name of the chord, I could just go here. I know the A belongs, C and E. Next one, I could just go like this and maybe move this down. This would also belong. Might not sound well, but this belongs. So let's listen to this one. Let's make another one here and maybe here. So this is as simple as it gets. Of course, this might not sound the best. We could maybe move this one like so. So this sounds a little bit better than the other one, because the other one had the diminished or augmented. I think it was the diminished. Even I'm not sure the exact names of all the chords. It's something that I have to still practice. But as you can see, as long as you know the chords that belong to the scale, it's easier to start move notes around and start finding chords that sound well together so that you can make a chord progression. So I hope that was easy to understand. There was a lot of minor and major and A and C and D, stuff like that, but it's part of becoming fluent with music production and music theory, which is also a very important aspect of music production. Most of the times we stay confined into making music with either samples or within the tool, and we just care only about learning how to use the DAW. And sometimes we don't take time to learn how to do proper music theory or to understand music theory, and that can also help you improve your skills. I have a bunch of books that I can reach out about music theory that I can recommend. For instance, I have this one here, which is Music Theory from Absolute Beginner to Expert. And I haven't finished this one yet, but this one is really good. This one has some really cool cool concepts, and it goes into a lot of detail about music theory. And then I have this one here, Music Theory for Electronic Music Producers. This one I would recommend if it's an easy read, to be honest. The beginning of the book I really enjoyed it, but the end it was a really mess of a book. The examples did not match the text, and the images did not match the text. There was some errors in the end that I didn't appreciate, to be honest. And yeah, I mean, it's a okay book. If you want to grab it, but the end will probably disappoint you like it did disappoint me. But yeah, let's go now to the next question. And basically, I think I answered the two next questions that I have here, which is basically what's a minor chord and what's a major chord. And I think I already explained the difference between both of what is a minor chord and what is a major chord. Let me know if you still have questions about music theory that I can help with. It's easier to showcase with examples here in FL Studio because you can really see what is going on, and I can tell you this is a major, this is a minor, and yeah, if it's I would say it's really important to understand stuff when it comes to music theory, because this will also give you some really cool knowledge and knowledge base whenever you want to make music. And I can tell you that my songs really improved when I start to understand better music theory, because it gave me a solid foundation. And whenever I come into sometimes I come into FL Studio with a lot of inspiration, and I just go through it and make something happen. Sometimes I don't. And whenever I don't have inspiration, I rely on my technique to make something happen. And it might take me a little bit longer, but I always get something out of FL Studio. Every time that I want to open FL Studio and I want to make something, I make it happen. So and that's because I have a good understanding of music theory. I have a good understanding of FL Studio, and I've been doing this for a lot of years. So, and that's also something to take into consideration. But the more you know about the tool, the more you know about music theory, the better your music is. That's it doesn't work the other way around. It's like the more you know about something, the better you become at something. And to make music, you need both the theory on how to use the DAW, and you also need the theory of music itself. And we sometimes, as electronic music producers, making hip hop, making EDM, making techno, making music electronically with the DAWs, sometimes we neglect the music theory aspect of making music, which we shouldn't. Okay, so let's go to the next question that I have here. And this one here is how to make aggressive strings. Sometimes, if I'm in the mood to make some aggressive hip hop, I usually go for aggressive strings. And there are a couple of techniques that you can use right away that will give you automatically those aggressive and very, very hard type of strings. And I have a couple of them that I use on a regular basis. And some of them are based on, let me open here. No, let's use essential strings from Flex. And let's use, for instance, this one, staccato. So I like to use these articulations whenever I want to do something aggressive. I like to go with different articulations. And what I like to do is go in octaves. So this would be a lower octave. And you can already tell that this sounds aggressive and it sounds with power. But if I do like a minor chord, it doesn't sound that great, especially in the low notes. If I go higher, maybe. If I go even higher, yeah, this could work. But in a lower register, it doesn't sound that great. But if I do an octave, like this one and this one, now we have a little bit more to work with here. And we can actually do the same. I was doing a C minor scale. As you can see, we can very, very easily do something very aggressive and make it sound really cool. So let's try to find something here. Let's do here, and maybe let's do a metronome, and let's do another. And by the way, let's change the scale to C minor, and let's do maybe something here, and let's copy these ones. This is what I was talking about, doing octaves of the same note. So already we have some aggressive notes, and let's go and maybe add one here, D sharp, for instance, and we could do another one here. Just copy this, move this around, and then do something different from this one, which could be going from a higher register to a lower one. Okay, let's maybe put C, D here. Okay, I like this. So this could be a base to have something like this. So I would put octaves on lower notes. And then if I want to bring something higher, then I would start bringing maybe here. Something like that. I could record, or I could just go ahead and put it manually. So it would be tung, tung, tung. Okay, let's do it manually. Let's do here, here, and there. And we could do maybe here. Yeah, that's what I was originally playing. Okay, so let's do something like that. Just copy and paste. And here maybe we could change something for, so we go to D sharp, so maybe we could do a D sharp major note. It's a chord. And so this sounds a little bit happy. So what I could do, instead of going like this, I could go maybe like this. Yeah, that sounds better. So I can just copy this over, and now I have a chord progression that sounds really aggressive. And for this part here, for instance, I could just go, we started with G, so I could go to G and do something like go higher and then go to here. Let's see if this sounds nice. I like that. And as you can see, this is very easy, and now we can play around with other, for instance here. Yeah, this one doesn't sound that great, especially in the low end. Let's do sustain. Yeah, sustain doesn't sound that great. Let's do pizzicato. Yeah, this one sounds great. But again, my preferred one would be staccato. Okay, so now we have a hard, aggressive string preset or chord progression. The next step, what I would do is add a little bit more aggressiveness by adding maybe some distortion. So one of the plugins that I've been loving to use is the Camel Crusher. This is a must-have in all of music production arsenal, I guess. And if I play this, this will be very loud. So let's move the volume down a little bit. And you can see that it adds a little bit too much of distortion. So let's reduce maybe here the compression to 0 and then start adding compression and maybe some distortion there. Let's add a little bit of mesh distortion. So we already have now a little bit of light distortion, and we can still add some compression here. Maybe a little bit less. So this would be my preferred way to go. And then of course some drums and bass. And then you have something very aggressive. Of course, I can maybe do something else very easily. So let's see, I started with C. Now we could go, for instance, for a different scale. And we could go for, let's go to F sharp. Again, going with the theme of having low notes in octaves, and then on higher notes I could do the chords. So let's see this one. Okay, I like this. So this one would be the kick positions, something like that. Let's see this one here. Maybe in this one I could go a little bit faster. Maybe go down from down up. Okay, I like that. Let's maybe add some notes here at the top. Okay, so what we could do is, in this case, we could do some type of arpeggio. Arpeggio is also very, very nice, maybe on higher octaves. Okay, I like that. Let's keep the theme going. Okay, like that, and maybe another one. Okay, and here we could do the same thing, but maybe change some of the notes around. Yeah, here we don't have any more. So maybe we could go down, go down here. So like that. Oops. And maybe like that. I'm not sure if this will sound nice, but again, the idea here is to start putting notes around, and then we can play around and move them around. Yeah, I like that. So as you can see, the idea for making aggressive strings is to, in the lower register, just do octaves, always octaves, because this gives a lot of strength to the strings. You do very, very one octave apart. You can also go a little bit higher if you want to leave space for low end, like with basses and stuff like that. Stuff like that. And then on the higher notes, you can play around with what's the word, with chords, or maybe arpeggio, with making chords, stuff like that. Let's go with what was the one that let's do sustain, to see if this one sounds good with sustain. No, not really. Let's go pizzicato. Yeah, pizzicato now sounds cool here. So this would be my two ways, I guess, to make strings. Of course, every you can play around with different sounds, with different chords, scales, and it's just a framework, I would say. Octaves in the lower notes, and scales or arpeggios, in chords or arpeggios in higher notes, and then do a combination of that, and you would grab and you would get something very aggressive like that. I could make a beat just with this very, very easily. Okay, so I think that's it for this question. And let's see. I think we are 10 minutes away, close to 10 minutes away from 7 o'clock, which is usually the time that I finish the live stream. And I still have a question here, which is how to make techno bass lines. So this is something that I really, really enjoy making, is techno. Nowadays, I don't do too much techno because I'm not doing too many the videos that I do more is more live streams, and then the clips from the live stream. That's what I usually do nowadays. And I'm more focused on different projects that I have working on, music projects that I'm working with other people, and that takes a lot of time. And to be honest, I really enjoy them. And yeah, so techno is something that I really, really enjoy. And there are a couple of things that we can play around when doing techno. So there are at least two basses, or two types of basses. One is very, very elongated notes. So you have a note that plays, let's say, A until always, and maybe some variations. Or you can do some rolling basses where you have a very sharp and fast bass to do that. So let's jump into FL Studio so that I can maybe show you what I mean. So let's bring up here some kicks just for reference. I have techno kicks here. Let's go with minimal. I like this one here, kick amber. Let's go with amber. Let's go maybe 127, 26. Where is the amber one? Here. Let's play this one all for 4 bars, like so. Okay, so now we have a nice techno kick. To do what I like to do whenever I'm doing like very solid basses, I like to do with 3x oscillator. As you might know, this is my favorite plugin to make basses, and I basically have this type of sound, and if I play something, you see this is a very, very deep and aggressive bass. And of course I apply a low pass filter, and we can have some really deep basses. think in this case D sounds really cool. So what I would do here, I would just put a note here, or E. Something like this, maybe add a little bit more low bass. Okay, so first, and then this is what I would do, and then go to the mixer and do some side chain here, side chain to this track, and side chain the kick with the bass. So where is dynamics, limiter here, and do something like this, ratio, very high ratio, and then let's do a fast release. So something like this. This would be one of my go-to basses for techno. A very solid or a single note with the kick. Let me maybe make this kick a little bit shorter. Something like that would work. Let me see here. Yeah, we have a shorter kick. Okay, I like that. So this would be one of the ways I would do a techno bass line. The next one would be take this one and maybe add, there's a nice plugin called, I think it's Harmor. Yeah, I think it's this one, yeah. You must have the full FL Studio version, but I really like this one here, this analog bass. It's very, very techno sounding bass. And for this one, I would do what I told you, like the rolling bass. And to do a rolling bass, it's very simple. You just make maybe 3 notes all together like this. Maybe let's make them shorter like that, and let's copy this over, and we can probably make another one here and make them shorter. Actually, we could go like this. This would simulate kind of techno rumble on the kick. Okay. And at this point is all about the velocity that you use. And for instance, we could even go maybe higher or lower, maybe lower. Okay, something like that, or even lower like this. Okay, I like that. Let's copy this over. Okay, and now we have a rolling bass. We could also do some side chain. Maybe a little bit less aggressive. And of course we could then add maybe some hi-hats. Let's go with the 808 preset. Close hi-hats, let's see. Where is the close hi-hat? Okay. Add the hi-hat there on the half beat. Okay, in this case maybe I would also add some EQ to reduce a little bit of the high end. And now we have a very simple techno bass line. And this would be a nice starting point to start making the rest of the track. And of course we could go, let's go maybe to a different bass. This one sounds good. And as you can see, after you have the main pattern down, it's just a matter of playing around with the notes or the sounds, the presets. This one sounds cool. I already did a track with this one here, with this preset, sequence or die. And as you can see, it sounds very techno. And for instance, you could actually use this like this instead of a bass and have the bass here. So you could actually use this type of rolling stuff to get more than just bass lines. Let's bring this down. And you can also combine both bass lines. I don't think we are in bass lines anymore. So this is how I would do some of these bass lines for techno. Of course, you can always do something different. Like you can play around instead of doing like the rolling bass. You can, instead of doing like rolling all the time, you could do something different like, let's see. Let's go one octave down. Okay, let's go maybe like this. Just playing around with the length of the notes. Maybe here can have something like this. And here maybe a little bit more, or I could add a longer one to have some type of different effect. We could also do some slide notes. Maybe on this bass would not be the most impressive thing. Slide notes. Let's see in this one here at the end. Boom. That could work. Maybe like this. Something like that, I don't know. This is just experimentation. But at the end, it's just a little bit of experimenting. Of course, getting some different basses. There's a nice plugin also, the Sower, that has some really cool basses that could work for this one also. But I would say the most techno basses, this one sounds cool, would be the Armor, or maybe, what was the one? Toxic Biohazard. This could be also a good one. But again, this is for basses. Another thing that I have here that to be honest, I don't use too much is my TD3, which is a synth that I have here on my desk to make basses. This is from Behringer. This is also a cool tool to have because you can make some really cool, dope basses with this one. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Again, making basses is like making music. I can give you some tools, I can give you some tips, but it will depend on your inspiration, your technique, and on the style of music you want to do. But basically, this is how I start when I want to make some techno tracks. I make a kick, and then I play around with variation, making the notes shorter, longer, playing them very fast. That's the thing about techno. Usually, you have some really fast basses, and or you can have also just a single note with some side chain, some pumping, to give you that moving forward movement of the pump. And this is also a very cool effect to have, and it can really make your track move your track forward with the bass. And of course, then you have the rest of the production to do. And yeah, I hope that answered the question. I was thinking about stuff to fill in the gaps, but again, it's another good thing is also to listen to music. It's like if you try to listen to what the bass is doing, then you will have a better understanding of how to do it, and then play around with FL Studio to try to get exactly the sound that you want. But again, just a couple of tips to make techno bass lines. I hope that help. So I think that's it, guys. It's already 7 o'clock, so time to close the door for this live stream. I will be doing this live stream every Saturday at around 6 p.m. GMT +2, which is the Berlin time. And you can always check to see what time I'll be doing this based on your time zone. And if you want to have your questions answered, you can either post comments on the YouTube videos, post comments here in the chat, or subscribe to the newsletter where I will be sending you a form where you can post questions. I will send the form every Friday so that I can have fresh questions for the live stream on Saturday. And I think that's it. I will not be sending any marketing material through the newsletter. This will be just for this live stream so that I can help you speed up your learning process. And yeah, it's the theme of the channel is master the software, so that is just you and music. This is the main core of my mission, I think, or my mission here on YouTube is to help you guys speed up your learning process so that you become better producers faster. And yeah, I don't care if you are starting out or if you have 10 years. If you have a question, I will be able to answer. I'm very confident about it. And yeah, I think that's it, guys. So thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by and taking time to watch the live stream. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.